Hey, how's it going? This is Josh from Books by Josh, and I would like to welcome you to episode number 19 of the Books by Josh show. This episode is titled Be Different. Yep, that's it. So, let's dive into this week's episode. Over a year ago, I published a video on YouTube called Breaking Away from the Herd. I also did a blog post about it. The information in that blog post and video are still relevant to this day, but I feel like I need to revisit it a bit. And what way to better do it than to make a podcast about it? So before we get deep into this topic, let me define the title. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit bad. It's because I'm under the weather a little bit, but being different means standing out and setting yourself apart from the masses, the herd. It doesn't mean, though, to go and commit a heinous crime just because it's opposite to the social norm. But it does mean setting yourself apart, and let me talk about it, alright? Because it's very powerful to be different. First, everyone close your eyes. And listen. Think about the past, about your school life. You could be in college, elementary school, junior high school, even high school. Even nursery school, if you remember that. Just think back and try to remember that one weird kid. I know that everyone thinking right now knows at least one weird kid. Why? Because there were more than one in my school days. In high school, there was one kid we called Rerun because every day they came in wearing the same exact clothes. And I had only one class with this person, and it was over 14 years ago. Yet, I still remember them to this day. Why? Because they were different. They stood out to me, and in my mind, I will always remember that. The same can be said about everyone that you guys remembered. They stood out in your head. That's why you remember them. Think about your favorite teacher. Why were they your favorite? Because they did something different that the other teachers didn't do it. Still know, remember Coach Cataldi and Mr. Rudin? But guess what? They were special teachers to me. So, that's one of the main benefits of being different. You stay in the person's mind. I have a good friend of mine who is a door-to-door salesman and makes a lot of money. I was honestly speaking with them earlier today in regards to something about how he sells and what makes him a good salesman in his field of work. Because I was thinking about joining it because I have an interview for it. And he told me honestly that he's not selling the product, he's selling himself. There's many other companies and people that sell that same product, but they cannot offer what he can offer. Honestly, there's over 30 people who work in his office and does the same thing that he does, the same area. Yet, if he has visited that client before in that one home, they will not deal with his coworker. Why? Because of the impression he left. He was different from them. Because he learned to set himself apart from everyone else in the industry and in his office by giving excellent customer service. That's how he set himself apart. Even if they're not a client and they ask him a question, they have his cell phone number. He picks up his phone or he returns the call. He's very professional. But the thing is, he'll help them even if they're not a client. He'll answer the question, he'll swing on by, take any questions, help them fit something. Why? Even though they're not a client and he's not benefiting from it right there, he's planting the seed that one day when they want to switch services, they'll come to him. Also, even if they don't use them, they'll recommend their friends and family. Why? Because he gave them excellent customer service, even though he wasn't benefiting from it. That's why so many people recommend their friends and family to him. And that's what I used when I was working in wireless. It didn't matter who you were. You came into my location. I was treating you like you were the king of the world or queen of the world. Because you're the only thing that mattered in that instance. And even if you just came to ask a question or how did you do something, I took my time with you and explained it and gave you recommendations. even if you had a different company. Why? Because that's who I am. That goes back to being genuine, guys. Okay, Josh, that works in that one scenario or your job. How do I apply it to my life? That's what many people are thinking right now listening to this podcast. Let me give you another example. But remember, guys, think outside the box. There's companies that have done that. Netflix. They survived, yet Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and all the small mom and pop video rentals unfortunately didn't last. Why? Because Netflix started saying, you know what? We don't want you guys to come to our store. We're not going to do stores. We're going to do it different. We know your time is valuable. So, mail us back your movies. And we'll mail you the new ones on your queue. How many times have you forgotten to return a video if you're old enough to remember video rental or DVD rentals and accrued late fees because you forgot? Netflix, return it whenever you're ready. That was amazing. That changed the way we did video rental. Then Netflix also made another step to continue to innovate. They're saying, wow, a lot of people aren't doing DVDs anymore. We're getting fast internet. You know what? Let's start streaming TV shows and movies. That's what they did. It doesn't sound like a big deal right now in 2018, but when Netflix did it, it was huge because no one else was doing it. They thought outside the box. Everyone was still in the conventional way of thinking. Late fees, we're going to make so much money off late fees. Be kind, rewind. If you don't rewind, we're going to charge you penalties. No, Netflix changed the way people did video rentals. That's why they're still around today. Now let's take a look at Starbucks. Everybody knows Dunkin' Donuts. Everybody knows Starbucks right now. I have the Starbucks app on my phone. I don't have the Dunkin' Donuts app in my phone. Why? Because Starbucks is different. They're an experience. What I mean to say is, on my birthday last month, I decided to go to both establishments to get coffee throughout the day. My trip to Starbucks was a lot better, even though I got free coffee. That's besides the point. Because the atmosphere. You have people sitting down at Starbucks, working, checking the email, talking, just having a good time. There's music playing. It's a system in play. I order, move to the side, I get my order quick. Whereas Dunkin' Donuts, I have to go, wait on a long line. They move slow. There's no music playing, and guess what? In New York City, a lot of them have a time limit on how long you can sit down. Some offer Wi-Fi in Dunkin' Donuts, some don't. But why? Dunkin' Donuts, I think, has been around longer. Don't quote me on this. Starbucks is killing in coffee because they take it one step further. They don't care about just selling your coffee. They want you to stay there, relax. They offer you refills for like 50 cents or 25 cents if you're a Gold Club member. That's amazing. You know how many times I went to Dunkin' Donuts to sit down, take a call. It's over 30 minutes and the guy comes to me, oh, you have to go? I'm like, I bought a coffee, bought this, whatever it is, and you're kicking me out? Why? I'm a customer here. Give me another coffee. That's the whole thing. Starbucks made it experience. Apple. Back when Apple's still around, but back when they got into the music industry, there was the Walkman, CD players. Apple's like, here's iTunes. We know there's only one or two great songs in the album. Why buy that whole album? Buy the song you want for it. 99 cents. Doesn't sound like a big deal now with Spotify and Apple Music and Google Play Music. But back then, it was amazing because you didn't have to waste $13 to get that one song. You want the Maroon 5 songs about Jane and you just want the Harder to Breathe, you could just pay $1 and get it. You don't have to go and buy the whole CD. Then they came out with the iPod. CDs could hold, 18 songs, 24 songs? iPod, over 100 songs in your pocket that you could shuffle. You're not stuck with one CD that you burnt. You don't have to walk around with a CD case. Instead of making a better CD player, they made a digital media player. When I say media player, because they came out with an iPod video. The powerful iPod now had video. like I said, back then when this came out, oh my god, it was amazing. Because you no longer need a portable DVD player. Rip your DVDs on your computer and just throw them on the iPod and take it with you. Same thing with the iPhone. Instead of doing a traditional stylus touchscreen, they went capacitive. They went all touchscreen, no keyboard. Unheard of. Once again, they thought outside the box and they made it work, and that's why there's so many iPhones being sold to this day. And all the Androids, any phone maker that's a smartphone doesn't have a keyboard anymore. They have one or two obscure ones that have it, but they changed the game because they were different. Being different doesn't always pay off. No. Prime example, Microsoft Zoom. It was the competitor to Apple's iPod Touch. The Zoom, I had the Zoom. I loved my Zoom. So I had an iPod Touch. The Zoom had higher quality video, had higher quality audio, and Microsoft, for $20 a month, this is back in 2007, 2008, had Zoom Unlimited, which is basically Spotify Premium, Apple Music, Google Play Music, where you can download any song that you wanted onto your Zoom or your Zoom player on your computer for $20 a month. Oh my god, that sounds like today. Just a little bit more expensive, but it didn't work out. Why? They were different, but they weren't that different. They made their Zoom only work on Microsoft computers. They didn't continue to innovate. That's all they did. Had the 80 gig Zoom. And like I said, the premium headphones was a premium product, but it was blocky. It would still look like a traditional MP3 player or like an Arcos. It was not rounded. It wasn't good to look at. But what I can tell you is this. The things it could do were amazing for the time. Same thing with the Arcos, but that's it. They lost down the road. They didn't promote it well. Like I said, Microsoft exclusive, so if you had a Mac, you couldn't use it. So with the younger generation buying more MacBooks, because the cost was down at the time, where an entry-level MacBook started at $1,000, whereas before it was like $1,500. That was a bad move. Even though the iPod was originally Mac only and only shipped with a FireWire cable, Steve Jobs changed that and opened up iTunes to everybody. So that's why it failed. Because things like that is a whole big thing behind it. I might cover it later on. But let's get back on topic here. Being different helps. So that's how it works for the big boys, the big businesses. For the smaller boys, it's a bit different. So let's talk about that a little bit. Gary Vee always talks about jab, 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 hook. Give, 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 take. That's how he sets himself apart. That's what he sells. By that, it's a concept that he talks about in most of his books and some of his vlogs and things of that nature. You give, 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 take. So you're giving out free content, and then you ask. You understand? Because if you're asking, you're not going to get there. It's the same as, it's a psychological thing when you ask people for money. You could start with an astronomical number. You could go somewhere, hey, not even astronomical. Hey, let me get $5. Oh man, I don't have $5. I ain't no problem, man. Let me just get $1. And that's it. They start to think, wow, I just turned them down. Let me give them $1. It's psychology there. So, how do you set yourself apart from, if you own a deli, how do you set yourself apart from deli down the block? Well, you could offer lower prices. That's how Walmart did. They bought in bulk, so they could sell cheaper than anyone else around. And that's a common business practice. That's why you have all these 99-cent store, dollar stores. They make less profit per item, but they move high amounts, which is why a lot of people are successful on platforms such as eBay. So, now let's take a look at something else that you could do. You can offer a little bit more for the same price. What do I mean? You're selling sandwiches, throwing a bottle of water or a can of soda for the same price as your competitors. Prime example. I live in Brooklyn. There's a grocery store on every single corner. But if you want a sandwich, you know where to go because they pack your sandwiches more in this spot rather than that spot. So I go get coffee in the morning, right by my job. Same cup, 16 ounces. I could go to my right, to my left, or down the block. I go down the block. Why? Because I'm paying $1.25 rather than $1.50 in the other spots. 25 cents isn't a big deal, but the choices I have. That $1.25, I have 3 different choices. I can have French vanilla, hazelnut, or regular. The other ones just have regular or decaf. Also, there's sugar there. There's white sugar, brown sugar. They also have tea there. You make your own. They have different things, different kinds of tea. It's just choices. And that's what sets that place apart from everyone else around there for coffee. Same thing. If you want to buy pants, let's just say pants. You can buy pants in Modell's jeans, or you could go to the Gap and buy jeans. For the same price of one pair of Gap jeans, you could pay $4 or $5 for 4 or 5 pairs of Modell's jeans. You get what you pay for, like they say, but it's all perceived value. I honestly, depending on what I'm doing, I prefer Modell's jeans. Why? Because if I'm doing some type of painting, construction, I don't care about ruining them. It's all about perceived value. So the thing is, with the local shops, I prefer certain shops because it's not about perceived value. It's about the service they give you. Because Modell's, I can shop online. I don't have to go store. These mom and pop stores, they have to give you more value. And that's what a lot of workers that work in them don't understand. For them to survive, they have to be different. Why do I like local bookstores as opposed to just shopping on eBay, Amazon for books? Sometimes you find a rare find. I'm talking older books, original run, things like that. They are rare, but you might find it. And I found some pretty good books in these old books. Not even the old bookstore, a regular bookstore. Just because I went in, looked, and you could talk to people and they can give you recommendations based on what you read. I went to Barnes & Noble and guess what? They didn't help me. Why? Because they hate their job. They don't care. And if I go on Amazon, eBay, I have to read reviews of other people. To be honest, I bought books based on other people's reviews and they're not that great. Because this is just a generic review online. It's not like somebody's telling me, hey, get this book, I liked it, blah, blah, blah. Then I can say, oh, really? What do you like the most? This is what I'm into. Oh, yes, that's perfect. This book is for you. That's what's great about a good salesman or representative that you have in the business. And that's why I prefer a sandwich shop like Blimpie because guess what? They take their time with your food rather than Subway's. It's in and out. And that's the main thing, guys. Be different. So, Josh, you touched all these other businesses. The kid in high school, that was crazy, whatever. But how are you setting yourself apart from everyone? Why should I listen to your advice rather than everybody out there? This is the digital age. You say all the time. I can go on YouTube, type in advice, and get it. Yeah, you can go with an MD and type in your symptoms and get told you got cancer and you just have a common cold. No, it's a little joke. But what sets me apart is just me. I'm talking straight from the heart. By the way, for the past 15 minutes, or however long I've been talking, since I got off Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks, that's all been unscripted. This is all coming from the heart, unedited, truth from my mouth, from things I've experienced throughout my life. I can be like one of these people that post on Instagram, Snapchat, look at this car. Now how many people I know with nice cars I confront and say they're my cars? I can send pictures of first class, talk to some of my friends that know people in the airlines, get in private jets, act like that's me, and say, here, listen to me. No, that's not me. I don't want to lie. You can call someone up. Let me borrow your Rolex. Let me shoot a video with it. No, that's not how it's going to go. I talk from the heart. I don't know all the answers. Nobody does. We're human. But what I do know is I'm going to tell you what I've learned from doing things and what I never will do again, or what I will do again in the future and what I'm working on. Why? Because there's nothing to hide. Just like I started doing my walks again, even though I walk every day to work and home most of the days if I'm too lazy to pay for Uber. It's a waste of money, honestly. But for that travel, it's not even a mile, it's like a mile walk each way. But that's the whole thing, guys. That walk, I shot a video while doing it because why not? I was thinking, what should I put on YouTube? I can make a video, but it's so much time to edit the video, cut the video, this and that. So excuses. I'm like, I'm best when I'm just talking. That's what I'm doing here, but this is mostly scripted. But on the YouTube, it's unscripted. I'm talking whatever comes to my head right then and there. Talk about the day, what's going on. And that's what makes it great. It's like when I used to walk from Brooklyn to Westchester or to the Bronx or wherever. It's unscripted. It's free flowing. I don't know what's going to happen. I could get attacked by a dog, a wolf, anything. You never know. But that's my whole spiel. I talk genuine. If you don't like my information or the way I talk, I'm sorry. Can't please them all. But I'm here to share my experience and teach what I can. Heck, I was even going to be a teacher in Japan for English because I taught little kids before. See, you learn something new every day. But that pretty much wraps up this episode of the Books by Josh Show. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe to the podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, even YouTube, on Facebook. I put it everywhere. You could check us out on YouTube by searching Books by Josh, or visit us online on our site, booksbyjosh.com. Why? For more content, to see these walks that I was just talking about. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at Books by Josh, even though I haven't posted there in a while. Really gonna work on that. But, like I said, I'm honest. Facebook at Books by Josh R. If you want to support us, feel free to visit us on Patreon. Become a patron at patreon.com/booksbyjosh. You want a copy of my book, Private Eye? You can go on Amazon for the ebook, or you can get a physical copy through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or even a signed copy at booksbyjosh.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that little notification bell. Leave me a comment. Reach out to me. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Like I said, most of this was unscripted, and that's what makes it fun, guys. See you guys in next week's episode. Later.